Hello there, welcome to Postdoc Chronicles week number 44. And before I begin, I would like to talk about the game Bow to Blood, Last Captain Standing. So I'd like to feature this one because I actually got this game for free from the developers themselves, Tribe Toy. Last week they had their AMA in Reddit, Ask Me Anything, and yeah, I was one of the lucky winners. So I asked them, I do this often every time an indie developer releases their game and then they have an AMA on the Reddit. I usually is in there. I ask them questions and stuff, and in their AMA, I ask them whether or not they're looking into the possibilities of introducing some VR implementation with the recently released Nintendo Labo VR kit, because originally this game was released on the PS4, PSVR, and this game was meant to be played with virtual reality in mind, because basically this game is all about, so there's this like futuristic game where you have to pilot a huge ship, and then you battle with different captains, and then you do allegiances with them, and then in the end you will be ranked according to scores, and then like if you're at the lowest rank, then you will be eliminated for the next round, and so on. So not only is it about dog fighting and stuff, it also involves a lot of diplomacy, a lot of making colleagues with your enemies, and so on. And the nice thing is, again, this is roguelike. So in other words, every time you play, the circumstances are different, the map is different, the enemies are different, and so on. So it's a really very good game, and I'm glad I got this for free. And again, it's if you check it out on the Nintendo eShop, it's currently for $20. And I was really the devs were really interested with my question, because I pointed out to them that the games, like for example Demo, it's an indie game, but it does support the piano Labo from Nintendo themselves. So it's really good. These Labo kits, sometimes they're only good for building them once, and then after you build it, most of the time you just put it aside. You don't play with it anymore. That's the reason why. I don't have any Labo kit. I don't buy them. Not only would they be a hassle to bring back to the Philippines, but I think after I build them, I don't know what I'm gonna use them for. But if there would be games, that will have these, that would have a very nice implementation of the Labo, then maybe I'd be inclined to buy them in the future. But as of now, yeah, the only good implementation that I've seen so far is the piano one from Demo. Of course, there's the motorbike thing from Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, but I think the piano one from Demo is really very good. But the thing is, I don't like the game Demo. It's a very good game, don't get me wrong, but first of all, I already have Pianista, and some of the songs in Demo are good, but most of them are like, popish Japanese Korean thing, which I'm not into. So I'm into rhythm game, but only if the sound, the music moves me, or I'm into the music. Like for example, Pianista. So I'm a heavy metal fan at heart, but I also love, me and my girlfriend, we love some classical. That's why I love playing Pianista. But yeah, so Demo, I don't have it on my Switch, and so I also don't have the Nintendo Piano Labo. But yeah, so the developers here, Tribe Toy, they said they're gonna look into it, and it's an interesting thought that I pointed out. They said, and so yeah, they give me a digital code, and I was so happy. But I haven't played this seriously yet, because recently I've been replaying a lot of Enter the Gungeons, because of the, like I said from last time, the latest Farewell to Arms update. And yeah, I just finished the game with a good ending for one of the God Juniors, and I'm still playing it. But anyway, let's go to Post the Chronicles. So last week I mentioned that we had a really very bad background when I did the correct normalization for it, and we know that this is the this time it's the correct normalization than the previous one I did. It's because there are now Deepak already gave me some specific Atlas published plots of mass distributions of the standard model background, and my simulations kind of look like them without the constraints, without the restrictions. So with my old restrictions that I did before on my signal, the background is still overcoming my signal. So it's really very bad. And so last week I had, my goal in mind was to make sure that I had this, I can find the correct parameters, the specific kinematical variables that I can look into so as to contrast between the signal and the background. And fortunately, like last like Friday and during the weekends, I was able to found a very powerful discriminator, which is the multiplicity of the fat jets. And yeah, Deepak, I just saw it this morning when I was at work this morning. He said, yeah, it makes sense because standard models, gluons, and the photons, they usually don't have this huge multiplicity for their fat jets. So I use like n equals 4 and above, and it cut the background into like huge orders of magnitude. So my initial constraint was involving a finding a fat photon inside the large jet, but with the correct normalization now on the background, it wasn't powerful enough. So just to give you, a gist of what I'm talking about, what we're trying to do. So imagine this signal, this like what we're trying to look for, and in order to look for it, you're giving specific characteristics of your signal. So for example, imagine you're looking for someone, you're looking for a person. So let me give a close analogy. And then so someone asks you, okay, you're looking for a person. So that person is the signal that we're looking for in the LHC experiment. All right. So someone will ask you, okay, you're looking for someone. How do we know what are his characteristics? How do we know how to look for him? And then you say, he has a tattoo. Okay, so you can imagine when you just say he has a tattoo, there are a lot of other persons that could fit that description. So that's actually the what do you call this? The reason why we study background, because we're looking at a signal with a very specific final state. But the thing is that your decay chain is not unique. In other words, it doesn't uniquely define that final state. There are other processes that may give that other final state. So just like my tattoo analogy, if you just say I'm looking for a person with a tattoo, there are a lot of people there with who has a tattoo. So what do? You add additional descriptions so as to to pinpoint, to zoom into that signal or to that someone that you're looking for. So you now say, he has a tattoo and then he has a long hair, and so now there are a lot of those people with tattoo but with short hair. You eliminated them basically. So that's also what we're doing. So in our signal, we make sure that we have some characteristics that are unique to the signal, that is not what do you call this, that's not characteristic of the background. Okay, but yeah, my analogy with the tattoo person with the long hair ends there, because the thing is, every time you introduce, so you can imagine when you're looking for this guy with a tattoo with a long hair, you can imagine that eventually, once you have a list of numbers of perfect descriptors for him, then eventually you will find him. He will be unique. Okay, but the problem is in LHC, every time you apply constraints, kinematical constraints on the background, the thing is you're also reducing your signal. So for example, I'll say, okay, I want there to be 4 fat jets. Okay, so now the order, the background, the order of magnitude of the background reduces significantly. But the thing is, you're also reducing your signal. So it's like what do you call this? It's an interplay between how huge you want to decrease your signal, but while at the same time maintaining how high you want to reduce your signal, but still maintaining the high yield of your signal. So again, you want to, it's a compromise basically. What I'm saying here, you want to reduce your background in such a way that your signal still has a high yield. So you don't want to, yeah, you can introduce lots and lots of constraints so as to make your background practically zero, but then it could also kill your signal. So you have to find this sweet spot where the signal is still there, but it will overshoot the background. And again, I think I just found that sweet spot, and I'm still looking at it right now, because right now I only have a few backgrounds remaining, but I think they're just due to fluctuation. So I'm now increasing the number of events of the simulation to 5 million. Last weekend, I actually had to go to school because, so last Friday when I found that constraint, I ran it on the 10,000 events. So I saw that it practically killed the background. So that's for 10,000. My laptop can't accommodate like 1 million because it requires like around 200 gigabytes of memory. So I went to school simulated 3 million background events and then run it on there, and then I saw that we still have some fluctuations left. So I want to see if I make it higher, like 5 million events, will those gaps in the fluctuations be populated, or or will the background be properly gone. So that's what I'm doing right now, because like, at least now I appreciate the importance of how or the importance of the skill of reducing or trying to eliminate your background. Because before, I never really appreciated that, because before, like I said, when I had the wrong normalization for the background, our background was very low. It's of the order 10 to the -6, -5, or something like that, when it should have been like 10 to the 6. And then, so I was like, even if I plotted our signal, even if I don't have the constraints, even if I don't require there to be a photon inside the fat jet, or I don't require there to be this amount of subjets inside the leading fat jet, and so on, the signal is still peaking. So I'm like, I was asking myself, so what's the point? Why are we doing these constraints in the first place? And then it turns out, we actually need those constraints the moment the background overshoots our signal, because our signal is only of the order like 1 or 10, 10 to the 0, 10 to the 1, and the background, the unconstrained background, is like 10 to the 6, and I managed to reduce it again to, about the same or orders or below than that of our signal. So like from 10 to the 6, and then introducing the multiplicity of fat jet constraints, it basically reduced to like 3, 4 orders of magnitude. And then I reduced the constraints regarding the photons inside the fat jet, and then I introduced the constraints regarding the subjets inside the fat jet, and then it reduced further. Okay, but yeah, so that's the current update that I have for you guys. So hopefully I can now fix this new background with a signal, so that I can now go back to the paper, and then hopefully we can submit it, we can upload it to archive within this month. Because Deepak said, yeah, try to hurry up, because even though the Atlas result, the CMS result on the Stealth Susi is already out, technically it's not yet in archive. It's still in their personal notes or something. But yeah, so I'll try to do my best. And anyway, thanks for watching. See you next time on Postdoc Chronicles week number 45. So this has been Postdoc Chronicles week number 44. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you. Bye bye.